Hey guys, so you may have seen me posting about how I run my DS domination business. It's a little bit different than most in that I actually have a virtual assistant who does a lot of the work for me. And I've been asked by several people to record a video to kind of explain how I did that, how I found the virtual assistant, and so on. So basically, it was January of this year I decided to really get serious about my DS domination eBay business. Unfortunately, I was working at the time two jobs, both from home with pretty flexible hours, but I was exhausted from working those jobs and just didn't have the time to go through the process of listing items, um, revising items, checking item prices, checking items stock status, etc. So I decided at that point, well, why not find somebody else to help me out to do some of that work and make the process as easy as possible for me. So now it's at the point where the only thing I do for my DS domination business is I source the items. I figure out what I want my virtual assistant to list. I fulfill the items when they are ordered, and I follow up with buyers. That's it. Everything else is done by my virtual assistant. So we're talking going from maybe spending 20, 30, even 40 hours a week on my DS domination business to spending at most maybe 5 or 6, which is a big difference. And a lot of people think, well, if you're going to hire a virtual assistant, it's going to be really expensive. That's not the case. Uh, the thing is, a livable wage for people in the United States and Canada and developed countries might be, $10, $15, $20 an hour. When it comes to people in other countries like India, Bangladesh, and so on, the livable wage, or actually a good wage, is around $3 or $4 an hour. Now, if you play your cards right, you're able to get a good virtual assistant for around $3 an hour. Maybe give them about 15 to 20 hours of work per week, and that ends up costing you maybe $50, $60 each week for your virtual assistant who does most of your DS domination business work. And when you are scaling up and aiming to earn a few $100s a week or several $100s a month or thousands of dollars a month, it's really a no-brainer because you can hire somebody who's going to help you grow your business, who's going to do a lot of the work for you. You can afford to pay them, so you're actually supporting somebody else and giving them work to help them make a living, and you're continuing to profit and make money yourself with DS domination. So, when I went to find my virtual assistant back in January of this year, I went to a website called Odusk. It's since changed its name to Upwork. They also merged with Elance, I believe, earlier this year. So what I did was I went and I posted a job. And I'll see if I can show you the actual description. So I just said needed a virtual eBay assistant, that I would provide training and what exactly I wanted them to do. From then, after I posted the job, I picked probably 5 or 6 different candidates and I interviewed them on Skype. I just wanted to make sure they knew how to post items, how to work with the eBay templates, how to work with Google spreadsheets, and so on, because those are all things that I use to run my business. Once I found one that I was pretty confident in, I hired him. From there, what I did was I actually provided him with a couple of training videos that just showed him real quick how to list items, how to know what to list, and so on. So most of the work that we do, that I have my virtual assistant post, actually comes from a master spreadsheet that I have here. And so what I do is I give him the item title right here, and this automatically tells me how many characters are in that title to make sure it's under 80 or at 80, because that's the eBay requirements. And then I give him the URL for the item information basically. And this will be the Walmart or Amazon or ODA or Overstock or any of those sites, whatever site you're sourcing the product from. That's what it'll be. And you'll show in your training video what information from the URL you want them to copy. For instance, the pictures, you want them to do the product information, the size of the item, etc. From there, this is when I start doing my calculations. So let's say we're gonna list or have him list a item that costs $83 for us to buy, and with a 7% tax, it's gonna cost $88. So let's say we're gonna mark it up to $119.99, and this is our profit right here. It's gonna be $15. He'll know that, he or she will know that we want to list the item for this amount, and that's what they'll post it on eBay. Now from here you can actually just direct your virtual assistant to my video, one of my videos that I put together a few months back on how to list in 3 minutes or less. This actually will show him or her how to list the item, how to do it quickly, and the methods I use. That way they'll be able to really get through as many listings as possible for you. And I also include the template. And again, when you give them this template, make sure, give your virtual assistant this template, make sure it's customized to your particular eBay username and store. Because right now it's just generic with you able to fill in the information. From there, one thing that might be a little bit controversial is I do give my virtual assistant access to my eBay account. And I say controversial because some people might not trust giving that access to their virtual assistant. But here's the thing, my eBay password and my PayPal password are completely different. So there is no chance of my virtual assistant, for instance, stealing money from my PayPal account. There's also no chance of them changing the eBay information or changing the eBay information to their own information, their own email address, because I have security questions set up, so eBay would have to verify all of that with me, so it wouldn't happen. Also, they can't change the eBay information to their own PayPal because, again, there's restrictions set up with eBay. So it's very, very safe, and I'm pretty much 99.9% confident that nothing will ever happen as far as my virtual assistant trying to pull anything on me. If you set up the proper precautions, you don't have to worry about that. But from there, my virtual assistant, I'll give them 15 to 20 items a night, and they work for me 5 days a week. And I'll add each one of them to this spreadsheet, and they'll go through the list them, and as they do each one and complete it and list it, they'll actually go over to current listings and copy the information from there, so that way the items that I told them to list after they've been listed are found under my current listings. Now why this is important is when I make a sale, I'm easily able to go to my current listings, and I'll show you, but I'm going to blur this out because obviously I don't want to give up my information. And let's say I sold an outdoor garden item. I'm able to quickly find that item in my spreadsheet and say, okay, I sold this item right here. This is how much it cost me. This is how much it's selling for. And I'm able to just select those cells and copy them over to my sold items list. Which I'll go all the way down here. And it's neatly organized. You can see how much profit I'm making on each sale. And I can see what items are really selling the best for me. Now, the other aspect of this current listing spreadsheet that my virtual assistant does is he goes through each one of these listings on my eBay, and if the price changes, he updates the cost to buy here. He adjusts my sale price to make sure I'm making my desired profit, which is $19. And he updates that both on my spreadsheet and also on my eBay account, which is very useful. He also, when an item goes out of stock, he goes into my eBay account and he updates the item quantity to 0, because I use good till canceled listings. And he puts up an temporarily out of stock image, which makes sure that people don't buy my items when they're out of stock. So those are two very useful things. And another thing he does is if I notice certain items aren't really selling, I will actually give him a list of items I want revised along with what I want replaced with. So let's say this item's not selling well, so I want it replaced with a barbecue grill item that I found on Amazon. I'll give him all the information and he'll revise the listing. And that way I'm using all of my listings properly. Now, what this has meant for me is it has allowed me to go from having less than 100 items up to having nearly 600, as you can see. And I've gone to a high of around 700 or 800, but I've kind of cut down in recent weeks. And the basic idea is the more you list, the more you sell. So obviously, having a virtual assistant has been crucial for me, and it continues to be a crucial thing. I know with the recent DS domination automation options, that's going to be a game changer for many people, but there are going to be some who don't want to use the automation system and would prefer to kind of handle it themselves or maybe hire a virtual assistant. So hopefully this video has kind of been helpful to show you how I currently run my business and how it's benefited me. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me and I will be sure to help in whatever way I can. Have a great night.